What's up everybody? Welcome back to the Invest in Wealth channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over every single one of my holdings in my stock portfolio here. We're sitting at a balance of $144,270. This should be a fun video, so stick around to the end and make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Without further ado, let's hop right into my positions here. We're going to start off with my largest account, which is my non-registered. So let's go ahead and start with the first holding here. We have Allied Properties. I have about 115 shares in my non-registered account. That is a value of about $2,400. We are down about 1% all time. This is the only REIT I hold. The yield's about 8.4%. So this makes up about 4% of my total portfolio. I do hold it in my tax-free account as well. We'll go over that a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, that's my first holding, Allied Properties. Next on our list here, we have Bell or BCE. I have 100 shares. I'm up about 1.86%. This stock has a nice high yield of about 6.6%. It's my favorite telecom stock here in Canada. This makes up about 4.1% of my whole portfolio. Going on back here. Next up, we have my Bank of Nova Scotia position. This is my largest, third largest holding in my portfolio. It makes up 10.6% of the total value. Yield is 6.6%. I own this in my non-registered account here and as well as my first home savings account. So out of, I own three bank stocks here in my portfolio, and Bank of Nova Scotia takes the largest percent as it makes up 10.6%. Next on our list, we have CNR. This is a fairly new position in my portfolio here. I have 8 shares, basically break even in my non-registered account. Small yield, about 2%. I like this one for long-term growth. That's why I am holding this. So CNR is a very small position, so it only makes up about 2.1% of my total portfolio value. Next up, we have Enbridge. This I own in all 3 of my accounts here. They pay 7.4% yield. I hold this one mainly for the income as well as the future growth that I think it'll bring us here. So this is the second largest position in my portfolio, and this makes up 15.9% of the total value. Next up, we have the Enbridge split share. So this is ENS. Kind of a small position in my portfolio. I've recently sold off about 200 shares. Pays a massive 11.7% yield. So that is awesome. This makes up about 2.8% of my total value. Next up, we have Great-West Life, GWO. This stock has done pretty well for us. We're up about 14.2%. A nice 5.23% yield as well. Great-West Life makes up 4.1 out of the $144,000 value in my portfolio. Moving along to HMAX. I own this just for the monthly income. Very small position here in my portfolio, makes up about 1.4%. Total value about $2,000 there. It does have a higher yield than this, so this is wrong there, but it's about a 13% yield, so I mainly hold this just for the nice monthly income I receive from it. shares here, will break even as well. This makes up 2.6% of my overall portfolio. Next up, we have another bank. We have TD. Own about 110 shares, down about 6% there. They pay about a 4.6% yield. So TD makes up 6.5% of my overall portfolio. TXF, this is my largest holding here. I own this in 3 of my accounts. They have a nice yield of about 8.81%. So this ETF alone makes up 23.6% of my overall portfolio value. So this is my biggest holding here, TXF. And the last stock we own in my non-registered account is VFV. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this. This is the Vanguard S&P 500 Index ETF. I've recently just started buying this. I own it in 3 of my accounts here. Small yield of 1.25%, but I've mainly added this to my portfolio for the growth. So this is my 5th largest holding, and this makes up 7.7% of my portfolio value. So all these stocks here, this was on my Canadian side of my non-registered account. So let's hop over to the smaller US side here, where I have just 3 positions. So I have Apple, 11 shares of Apple. I'm looking to build this position in the future. This makes up 2% of my overall portfolio value. Google, own 1 share of Google. This is by far the smallest position in my portfolio. This makes up only 0.1% of my portfolio value. And then we have Microsoft. I own about about 1 share here. Recently added this to my US side here. So this makes up 0.4% of my portfolio, and that is Microsoft. All right, let's hop on over to my 2nd largest account, which will be my tax-free savings, a value of $30,500. Allied Properties, I own about 150 shares in my tax-free account, so that makes up just about 10.38% of my tax-free account there. Going on back, we have Enbridge. Enbridge, small position in my tax-free, only makes up 3.3% there. And then now onto my 2nd largest holding in my tax-free account. This is also my 4th largest holding in my portfolio. This makes up about 8.9% of my total portfolio value. But in my tax-free account, I do have 300 shares, and this makes up 41.17% of the value in my tax-free account. Moving along, we have TXF. Owned 734 shares in my tax-free account, and this accounts for just under 43% of my tax-free savings. And lastly, we have the new position we've added to my tax-free account, VFV. So I own 6 shares in my tax-free, and that makes up only 2.13% of this account here. Let's dive into my RRSP, balance of 10,100. I only have 3 positions in this account, so let's take a look at what they are. In this account, I own some Enbridge shares, about 43 shares here, and this makes up 20.25% of my RRSP. Next up, we have HYLD, extremely small position. This makes up about 3.7% of my RRSP there. And lastly, we have TXF. No surprise there. Takes up quite a big weighting in my RRSP at 76% of the total value there. And I'm up quite a bit in the TXF position. This stock as well pays me out about $3,000 in dividends a year, completely passive, which is awesome. Moving on to the last account I have here at Wealthsimple, which is my first home savings account. I've maxed this account out. I got a balance of about $8,215. I have 4 positions in here. So let's take a look at what they are. We have Bank of Nova Scotia, about 15 shares. So this makes up about 11.78% of my first home savings. This Bank of Nova Scotia also released their earnings today, and I was quite surprised. Their earnings were actually pretty decent. They kind of matched what the analysts were expecting. So that's why we see the nice 2.71% rise the past day. So that helps our portfolio a lot. Okay, moving along, we do have CNR in my first home savings. CNR makes up about 20% of this account here. We're down about 2.3%, but not too worried with CNR. It's proved to be resilient if you hold through the long term there. Next up, we have CP, and CP is quite a small position. It's our third smallest in the portfolio, and this makes up only 0.6% of my total portfolio value. But in my first home savings account, we do own 8 shares, and it makes up about 10.5% of this account here. Going on back, lastly, we own VFV. Doing pretty well in my first home savings account here, up about 5.4%. And this makes up 57.24% of my first home savings account. And that is it for my stocks and ETFs I own here at Wealthsimple. I've kind of shrunk down my positions a bit the last month or two, so it's kind of makes it easier for me to track, and kind of cleaned up my portfolio a bit. I do own a small crypto account here, only 3 positions. I mainly hold this just for speculation. I do stake my crypto as well, so I love the staking rewards I get every few days here. So I have some Cardano, some Ethereum, and I mainly hold Solana in this account, up about 20%, so that is awesome. Again, I mainly just hold this for speculation, but it is a very small percentage there, only about just under $2,000. But other than that, I think we've covered everything here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.